This episode of the podcast is sponsored by a company called Wax and Relax. And that's not the cracks on the backs and everything else. That is wax melt, guys. And they provide handcrafted and homemade wax melts in all your favourite fragrances. Support a small business and check out their website, www.waxandrelax.co.uk. They smell beautiful, guys. I've just had my delivery and they make the room. I get into my mantra and my zen.
In that shirt, yeah.
And I get my wax melts on from Wax and Relax, and I'll go into a different world, man. And they smell amazing, and they're handmade, they're handcrafted by the people who sell them.
Made with love.
Made with love. And why at this time would you not support a small business? So yeah, please check out waxandrelax.co.uk.
Say, goddamn. You said, all right. I said, let's do a podcast. Let's sit down. Let's get a coffee. Let's just talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee with the sound. Got a little podcast. Grab yourself a little coffee and a podcast.
It's so good as well, you know, obviously to see people, you know, making actions out of plans, you know, it's great. I was just talking to someone yesterday and she was telling me about, you know, mates just having a coffee shop, and I was like, it's just great news to hear when people are doing good things, you know what I mean? It's still in now as well.
When you've got the pressure.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think that's it's being a game changer in this whole pandemic, isn't it? It's like the pressure is either turn people up or turn people down.
Yeah, I started by going the wrong way since the pandemic, because obviously I went, oh, you know what? I'm not going to build my PT business. I'm not going to do online cheer stuff. And I went the negative, like, it took my life. It took this, it took that. And then obviously I started going, well, you know what? I need to start the podcast, or I want to start talking to people. And then I just rode with that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just keep riding with that. And it took the positive out of a really not sticky situation, but a badish situation. But I went that wrong way. So yeah, it is nice to, especially a coffee shop.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it does other like cakes and that as well. But I think at the beginning, I think most people have, because obviously it's like car crash and you're like, I was at the factory like, oh my god, I mean, it's going to sort itself out next week. So you're kind of like hoping for the best, and then when it weren't, you were like, actually, now I'm really getting annoyed. You know, with Boris going, yeah,
every
Boris,
week, every week, just sat waiting.
Sort
every
yourself
week.
out, Boris.
Just sat waiting for it.
But and then there's been levels, there's been flusters, I think, all the way through the whole year. I think, you know, and I bet yourself, you know, you fall off it and then you get back on the wagon, you get focused on something like this, and then, you know, you still end up, you know what I mean, taking a step back again, being like, you know, this is still a big weight in it. But I always say like, you know what I mean, lack of productivity kills. So you need focus in any situation. You know, the worst sort of times that you're going through, you need to, one, you know what I mean, try and do your best with the situation in itself, but just try and use your time wisely, and then just like occupy yourself, because, you know what I mean, when you're left on your own, it's when normally is, you know what I mean, when you do the worst damage to yourself.
I think my problem was, I don't know if you find it, because you're such a positive, energetic, not just trying to be positive for everyone else, but positive for yourself. As an energetic person, it gets a bit too much sometimes. And you have that, like, I know you've said social media, took yourself off social media and all that stuff. And it gets, and I think that might be why I ran from it to start off, because I was just like, I'm really struggling here. I can't go onto a Zoom class and be like, hi guys, let's do a workout, because that ain't me at the moment, because I'm struggling. And I felt like it was fake. And I did a few classes to start off, and I would come off them like, that was hard work. I weren't enjoying it. And I think it was because I was being fake.
Yeah.
So do you find being that energetic person all the time, do you find sometimes it just gets a bit too much? Like, because you're not allowed to be down.
Yeah, mad. Yeah.
If you're at work and people are like, why are you down? I'm not down. I'm just quiet for a bit. Like,
yeah, that's it. People notice as well. They're like, oh, I mean, exactly that. They're like, oh, you ain't spoken once today. And it is. It's like, I'm a big believer is, you know, I mean, your thoughts are things, and you I mean, you're responsible for your energy that you output. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. And I say that, be the person that you want to see in the world, and that, like, and be accountable for your attitude when you leave the house. So, like, I'm one of those people that I try to keep monetize and keep filling my cup up with things that, you know, keep my motors going. If it's a morning routine, if it's, you know, it's meditation or anything like that. But and then you're gonna hit walls and that lot. And I did, like I said, I've gone off social media now, but I can remember a few months back I did the same thing. I came off social media. I didn't come off it. I stopped doing my stories in the morning, and it was because I was exhausted. I was exhausted from work. I was mentally exhausted as well from just trying to, because I was trying to obviously work, and then I'm trying to do my personal training course as well. And then when you're trying to balance all these things, what you do is you overpromise yourself. You know what I mean? You give yourself all this added pressure to yourself to want to succeed, because you want to succeed. And when you're in this situation as well, you're like, well, the quicker I can get to winning my goals of personal training, the closer I can get to doing a job I love again, especially in this pandemic. And that's my look on it. And and then you end up just once again overworking yourself. And then I said to because there was a point where I had quite a lot of people watching my story and that lot, and I said to them when I come back on, it's like, I can't come on here and pretend to be something that I'm not. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And it's the same as, like, if you're with me and if I'm upset about something, you know, a lot of my emotions show on my face. So, you know, even if I'm trying to hide it, you know, like, you'll get it off my energy. You'll get it. You'll feel it. And so that's just naturally how I am. I can't converse about, and it's like if someone's bringing up a conversation and they hit a conversation, or they bring up a topic that I don't really agree with them, I can't really find the conversation in my body. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's either I just say, oh, okay then, like, do you know what I mean? And I don't know.
No,
or you try and change it. You try and change it.
You don't. You have got opinions, and you've got views, and you show.
Yeah, but it depends. It depends on the person, you know, because you can't. You know, some people, you know, you bang your head against the wall, and it depends how value. It depends. I mean, it depends of the situation, time. Am I going to see that person again? I mean, but yeah, I'm very. I do love putting my opinion across, and the thing is, well, that's I mean, that's
what gets you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're here for. We're meant to challenge each other. Do you know what I mean? We're meant to converse. We're meant to have different opinions, and you're meant to. You know what I mean? You're not meant to just believe. You're meant to question these things if it's I mean, if it is just someone's opinion, a topic, history, or whatever, how boring would it be if we all just agreed with ourselves, agreed with each other?
Hey, man, like, if we just went, okay, cool.
Yeah, how much trouble would we be in if we just agreed with the government all the time?
So, yeah, let's get into that. Like, obviously, I wanted you here because not just your energy, your enthusiasm to everything. Not just, I know you've got big views on politics and what's special, what's going on now, but you can talk to you about stuff that happened 10 years ago, and you're passionate about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've always got a point or an opinion or a view, or either it's positive or it could be negative, or someone might not agree with it, someone could disagree with it. You've always got, I want to talk about something, and I love that. Like, I love that, which is why I wanted you on. It wasn't just to stir the pot. Like, it's sick that you have different views. Where did that start from? Like, what triggers you to have such an insightful thing to the big dark web of what the politicians and what politician is?
Well, let's say the passion. Let's talk about the passion, because obviously a lot of it comes involved. I mean, it's based around passion as well, because I'm passionate about people. Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I'm a person that is I'm highly passionate about everything I do. Most of the things, do you know what I mean? The things that I like and I'm interested in, I have an emotional attachment to it. Maybe because I'm a creative as well, and being in, you know what I mean, performing arts, stuff like that. But I've always been, you know, I'm one of those people. I'm like a staff, you know, the dogs. They're really family orientated. You know what I mean? They can sense people. They can, you know what I mean? They can sense, you know, when you're upset and stuff like that. I'm very empathetic, I believe. You know what I mean? I can feel like I can definitely, like, sense the energy of a room. I feel like I'm quite good at reading people, you know, and I'm also conscious about them things. You know what I mean? Like, as I work through my teens, I mean, I started becoming more conscious about my energy after I started reading this book, The Secret, you know. And then when you start taking a step back and you start trying to analyze the way you think and the way you feel, things start looking different. People start looking different. Do you know? You start seeing the vibrations around people. You start seeing, you know what I mean, the input and the output, and then what's valuable, and if that person's adding value to your life, and information is value.
What do you mean by the input, the output?
Well, like as in like what are they putting into your into your social situation, or into like if you walk into a room, is that person putting out negative energy? Are they talking about things that you know, about other people? Are they gossiping? Are you bringing up subjects and then they're shooting them down? You know what I mean? And then like their output is like, is that person, you know what I mean? You know when you say you walk into a room and you like feel a pin drop, do you know? And there's just a lot of tension, a lot of stress. But then you can be that room. I love being that person sometimes. You can feel it in that lot. But then if you just like start acting silly, you start like, you know, probably being a bit loud, start poking people and that lot, you can loosen up that energy, loosen up that fog, clear out the mist. And that's what I was talking about earlier about being accountable for you know what I mean, your energy, your output, because it's people absorb it. You know what I mean? You absorb it. If a person's got a high energy and they bounce around the room and they're positive, you hang around with them for long enough, you're gonna get some of that rub off on you. Yeah.
Or I find in my life, because I'm a bit like you, that I will try and be that energy in a room, whatever it's, if you're being positive or being stupid or bringing up conversation. I find if you get the people who put a wall up to that, they've got their own problems they need to sort. Yeah. They've got their own things they need to start fixing.
Yeah, and truth is, I mean, a lot of us are trying to fix ourselves as well. Do you know what I mean? We're all got problems. It's just some people are better hiding them, and then that's another one. Like sometimes you have to try and understand people's reactions. Do you know what I mean? And think, okay, then well, maybe they are just having a really bad day today. Do you know what I mean? But you know what I mean, that's not an excuse for everyone, because some people are just, you know what I mean, see you next Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it kid friendly, but some people are. Some people definitely are, and some people are like energy vacuums. Like they put like they all they know is like if they're narcissists, they only care about themselves, and they just want to take all your energy, try and put you down to elevate themselves. And then you know some people are just don't know how to act emotionally intelligent enough to act in certain situations as well. When you talk about them, and that's not a bad thing. It's like when I talk to people about, you know, going when you're looking for in your passions or in your goals, and you're looking to better yourself in a different way, and you know when you're trying to do them transitions, sometimes your friends are not going in the same direction as you, and then sometimes that can be, you know what I mean, it can hold you back a bit, or that's not because they don't care, it's just because they're not familiar with the direction you're going in, and so they can't imagine it themselves. So when you're talking about business and you're talking about elevating, you know what I mean, your branding, you're talking about things, but they're already in a system of work where they don't have to think about their work anymore or anything like that, so they're not having them thoughts. So it's hard for you to brainstorm with them people that are around you, so sometimes you need to take yourself somewhere else to get that little bit of edge and that little bit of help and that little bit of, you know what I mean, a little bit of a nudge. You know what I mean, your vibe is your tribe around people, you hang around with successful people. Do you think that's helped? So guys who are watching and listening, you know, me and Reiss connected through work, so we both lost our jobs or businesses. He was a performer, traveling the world, performing, dancing. I was doing what I was doing, and we actually met through DPD, so we both work at DPD. But do you think, because of what's happened, the amount of creative people that are at DPD has helped us get through it? So there's about 7 of us that have come from performing backgrounds that all linked, we all got on. That's helped us get through the DPD job as such, because we're all like-minded people. If you imagine going there and it was just you took me out of it, Chris out of it, Adam out of it, all those, Curtis, your mate, out of it, what's the name, Josh out of it, and you were just you and those DPD workers that have been there for 5 years. How sucking and energy draining. Yeah. Like, big shout out to them, I love them, but they're not who we are. They're not like us. They want to be there in 15 years' time, and they're happy earning all their money at DPD, and that's it. But they would suck us dry. Yeah. And not in a good way. Yeah. They would take our energy vampire, because they're not energy vampires on purpose. They're just not creative. Yeah, they just don't. They don't have that visualization. You know what I mean? And it's, once again, it's that system in this lane that they're going down, and being around their social circle as well. It's like we've always been around creative people. You're always meeting people that are trying to innovate and trying to do different things. And when you're self-employed in that light and you're going by contract, you know, you're always looking forward to the next job. Yeah. But these people, like you say, these people have been in DPD, and they've been in there for many years, and they still, some of them, haven't got the initiative and the drive to climb the ladder. So if you've been there for already 5-10 years, where was the the edge in the beginning, saying, actually, all right, I've been here a couple of years, now I want to be manager. Take a look at me now, talk to manager, I want that training. The need to level up all the time, to learn new skills. These people, and this is a lot in society, and this is why I try and tell people that we've been robbed. A lot of people have been robbed of their superpowers. Like the system's built as well to be, for a poor society, for suppression and that lot, because they need that change in levels. The class. Because if even in a minute, what we're going to get in talking to about consumerisms and that and the struggle that the middle class is happening now. If you just had just middle class and then upper class, and people were consuming as much as over consuming, buying everything, we'd have a bigger problem with the sustainable and the global warming problem, because we just don't need so much things. But they just don't, they're not being taught. They've not been taught, and they've not had the support to encourage them to think bigger and better. And this is, and I definitely believe that. It's all mindset. Like you said, these people have been at this job for a long time, and in some of their lives right now in this whole pandemic haven't changed. Yeah. Our lives have changed dramatically. These people haven't changed at all. So they're not even seeing the repercussions, and they're not even feeling it on a personal level, because they haven't had to change anything themselves. They just can't go to the pub and that. So, when you're watching the news and that lot, and you're seeing the stories that they're not really involved. They're not really involved in the situation, what's going on right now. They don't really care what's going on as much, because their job's normal. They're doing normal things. I believe the people that have taken the most notice, the biggest, and have the most concerns, are the middle class, are self-employed people. They, have watched their jobs dissolve, watched their industry be dismantled, and now are struggling and having to, do jobs that are polar opposites to what they normally do, and in which is a battle of emotions, on just a spiritual level as well. For your soul, sometimes, when I first started DPD, I felt like it was soul destroying for me, because we are creatives. I live out of my passion, I live out of my soul. I'm used to living next to the beach and the sea and dancing. Do you know what I mean? And it's now I'm in this in the concrete jungle, and in this mechanics and all this auto shop kind of this work. It's mechanical, yeah.
But that's where I ended up. So Adam and Chris have just bought cars, haven't they? The two lads. They will be on the podcast. And I was so okay, cool, you bought a car. And then I come away from that and was like, that was not the reaction that I should have had. I should have been like, congratulations, you've lost your career and you've turned something bad into something good, that you've managed to work hard enough to buy a car. I should have said congratulations, because they're already in a hole where they don't want to be. And I shouldn't have been like, yeah, cool, you bought a car, nice one. So I went back the next day and we're like, bro, congratulations for buying that car. Congratulations for working so hard. Congratulations for turning something so negative into something positive. Like me with the house. At the moment, that's what's driving me to go to this job, is I'm like, I got a house at the end of the tunnel. Whatever happens at the end of that, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I've started to think about that now, how I'm going to feel after I've bought this house. Will I want to stay there? Will I not want to stay there? It's going to be the struggle.
It would just be building as well at the beginning. Obviously, it's going to be it's all going to be fun and new. So once you've built it and that lot, and you've got it, I'm sure you'll probably, when you get comfortable, you've probably made your feng shui and that lot, and then you'll be like, actually, let's do this again. Let's go somewhere else and do this again.
So you saying about we've been robbed and the middle class and stuff like that. So do you think that's just us as performers, or just creatives, as in like coffee shop owners, pub owners, micro pub owners, any business really that can't survive now? It does feel, I don't want to get too in it to create too many arguments, but it just does feel like as long as you can go and work as part of a machine, then they'll let you work.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's hard to create an argument against that now, especially now that this is a government thing, because it's so hard to create that, because if you actually look at it, you're happy to go and mix with 150 people at DPD because that company is paying billions in tax, but you can't go and work for yourself because you're only paying £1,000 tax a year. And that's the way it starts to feel. And I think people who aren't in our field don't see that. Like you were saying, they're just, people at DPD are like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's a government thing?
Yeah, they don't. It's like they don't see the bigger picture as much. Like if you've not really felt the effects, why are you going to care that much? Do you know what I mean? Like if you was a young teenager, or if you're in your early 20s, and say if you live at your parents' house, you have a really nice house, they have a really nice house, they've got a load of money saved, you've got a load of money saved. So and then you're getting furlough, you're getting a bit more money, you're comfortable. You know what I mean? You're living quite comfortable now. So you're not really bothered. You're off from that job you furloughed. It's not affecting you that much. You don't see the detrimental effects. You're not feeling the serious, hurt or pain as a person that's worked for 10 years to build a company, 10 years in an industry, worked on their craft, put hours in administration, hours in the visualization and so on. And now it's all been just pulled to a stop. And the uncertainty of when it's starting again, if it's starting again. And I'm just going to say now, like anyone that watches as well, if you want to know a little bit more, man, like the Economical Forum talks, I've been watching them, and it talks of stuff like working in the future and sustainable development. And there's a talk, and a woman, I remember she says, and she's like, if your business is not resilient, it's not sustainable. So right now, if you look at what's resilient, fast food is resilient, Amazon, factory work, these are all resilient. Yeah, they're still working, they're still open. So if your business is not resilient, it's not sustainable. And in the future, everything has to be sustainable, because that's the angle, that's the direction we're going into, sustainable development, And so what's that say? What are they saying? They're saying, well, all the other people that are in these middle class jobs, are going to have to retrain. We're going to have to upskill. And there will be still entertainment jobs in there somewhere. There's still going to be, service jobs as well. You're going to need, if you went to a show or something, you don't want a robot to come out. This is what they're saying. You don't want a robot to come out and commentate and, give you the outlook of the show. You want something more human to that.
Does it worry you, though, that it's going to end up all streamed?
Yeah, well, this is, I was talking to my friend, and even to the point, this is me looking to the future. But, I can see what I feel like is coming as well is entertainment's going to get replaced. It's going to get minimalised and replaced by stuff like, it will get replaced with VR. So like cinemas and stuff like that. You won't go to much cinemas and you'll go to you'll buy your VR, you'll sit at home and you'll have this VR experience where it's it surrounds you. You feel like you're in the cinema.
Cinemas are done because especially during this pandemic, Disney, Netflix, they've still been building movies, and they've still been releasing movies. So if they can do that, what's the point in the cinemas having them? If they can just do it and you go at home and go, oh, The Rock's made a new movie, Netflix, buy that sound. Yeah,
and then imagine if you can put a VR on and then you're sitting in a cinema or something and it's massive screen and and you're totally like in the movie. Also, holograms. Holograms. People. The thing is,
what about the crowd though? Like, especially in yours. That's the thing that worries me about the entertainment industry. That's great, whatever, movies. And it's annoyed me they've still been able to make movies during the pandemic. Yeah. Like, there's one come out about the pandemic.
Oh, my. Have you seen it?
I've not watched it.
No, bro. Look, I want to tell people, don't go and watch it. It's called The Bird Song. I don't know. There's a new movie as well with Gerald Butler about,
and there's one called The COVID-23.
But that's what it's, The Bird Song, it's called the COVID-23. And it's fear-mongering. The amount of suicides that we've got at the moment, amount of people that don't know where to put their head, in this crisis, that are feeling emotionally drained, emotionally, destroyed. And now, these directors think, oh, okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to chuck a bit of gasoline on the fire and we'll make a movie about how it's going to get extremely worse. And that if you leave your house, you'll get shot. And, it just, when you sit back from it, you're like, who was on the overlook of this? Who was on the board and thought, this is what we need right now in this crisis. This is how we need to make money. It's always like on a moral standard, and the moral standard of the world is wrong. It's corrupt, and it's built around money, and it's built around, and these are also, I feel like it's also emotional tactics as well. It also comes into like programming, and because on the movie, You know, there's bits like where you check your temperature on your phone, and
Yeah,
this stuff's coming out as well. Like, this is legit stuff that's coming out that they're trying to prototype in that lot, and you know what I mean, this is the future as well. So what they do as well, movies are on hand programming. You know what I mean? They're future programming. They allow you to. It's like if you were to how you feel like you should act in a situation, because you've watched so many of these movies, you're like, okay, I kind of understand how I'd act or how I should act in a certain situation. In the Gerard Butler one as well, I mean, there's a meteor shower coming, and then all the rich people are selected or something, and they get in a bunker. Another film about how the world's going to end. Look, bloke, I mean, can we bring out some love? Can somebody? I mean,
bit of Love Actually.
Yeah, can we?
Christmas movie.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Can someone make a movie about Bob Marley, a really good one, or something? Because you know, we need some love in the world.
So, like I said, that's the thing that gets me. The worst thing that gets me is what you can't go and dance, but they can get together and make a movie. Strictly Come Dancing. It's all the rich things that have been allowed to go on. Time to get out. Bomb. Yeah. there's rich things that have still been happening, and that's what I try not to think so deep like you do, like, because I think that can suck a lot of your energy to think so much about it, because guess what? We can't do anything about it. We can't do nothing about it. And that's the worst thing. But the fact that they've been able to make this movie when we're not allowed to leave our house.
Yeah.
Then they're like Strictly Come Dancing, because they can afford to. Or if I had millions of pounds, I could afford to have put all my guests into quarantine 2 weeks before, and I'll pay for them to live there, and I'll do this. And it's like, so because you've got no money, you can't survive.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
like you say, sustainability.
Live tokens. You know what I mean? If you ain't got no live tokens, you can't. You know what I mean? You can't live to the fullest. You know, and that's what money is, isn't it? It's fun tokens. It's,
and I throughout this whole thing, I have to take a bit of a 50-50 on the fence take to it. But I believe it's all real, and I believe it's real. But I believe that it came from somewhere, planned from somebody. Something we planned. Maybe if it wasn't all the governments, it was planned by someone. And also that if it wasn't part of them, other governments have capitalised on it, on a problem. There's been a problem. They've capitalised. So even like our government, there's been a problem, they've capitalised. They've opened businesses that have helped it. Yes, they've got loads of money. They can make pipettes and they can make stuff that delivers coronavirus checks and stuff. But why should they profit from it when they're making enough money as it is?
Yeah. And bro, talking about, like, obviously where does it originate from? Obviously, you know what I mean, the story's Wuhan. They said first it was a bat. You know, they said first it was a bat. Now they're saying it's frozen fish. So now they're saying, I mean, the Chinese are saying, well, maybe it come from frozen fish, come from on the boat. I know for a fact, yeah, I'm not saying I know for a fact where it come from. I know for a fact in 2015, you can check on the Nature publications, it's a medical journal, they created a mutated coronavirus from the origin of a bat in Wuhan. So, you know, if we're not talking facts, but we're talking, you know, a bit suspicious, yeah, they're already, I mean, working on that material in Wuhan. So, what I mean, who's to say it didn't escape out the lab?
That's one thing that annoys me. That even if it did come from a lab, it was an absolute mistake. No one was in plan. All the conspiracies out the window. The governments weren't involved. Blah blah blah. It released what? Why has that just disappeared, bro? If me and you just suddenly went round shooting people in the street and killing thousands of people, it would be a big thing. That's what happened. This lab has released something that's killed millions of people or hundreds of people. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone from the news? We're now worried about Texas being snowed under. Like, where's that? Why is that not a thing still? Like I say, if we went out in the street and shot someone, we'd be spoke about for years after.
Because it doesn't fit the agenda. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to.
Is that this Agenda 2021 you were talking about?
Agenda 2021 is built around sustainable development, which I was talking about earlier, and that was it was put in legislation. Well, it's from the United Nations. If you search the it was 1992 World Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. It's where all the presidents and all that lot go in, talk about global warming, CO2 emissions and stuff like that. And there was a big speech from, you know, the president of Brazil. And he goes in on this big speech, and he's basically talking about how, you know, I mean, the world's damned and the world's doomed because of the middle class over consuming. You know, and you know, it's a Western living and that lot that's destroying the planet, and we count up for all most of the pollution and stuff like that in the ocean and that, which is correct. Do you know, poor countries it's not, and that we need to share our wealth and that lot. But they're blaming us. But the person who created the system is themselves, and this always makes me laugh. They're making the products. You know, it's these presidents, it's these elected officials that sign these contracts that allow rainforests to be destroyed. You know what I mean? Palm oils to be built. And then the products that are made off there that they sell us, which they advertise so well, which, you know what I mean, they pay scientists to work on advertisement to manipulate people's emotions to make them buy. Yeah, now it's our fault. So this is what, and now they've got to stop and reset the whole world on the Great Reset, the Build Back Better plan that you're seeing now. People talk about, you know, if it's the Royals and so on, and you know, the economical forum, it's all built around that as well.
It's happened a few times, hasn't it? They say every 10 years, but it has happened.
Yeah.
It's all a bit obvious, not obvious, but it is obvious. And I get it. Like I stood at work yesterday and said that I understand that if we're overrun, because we just keep having babies, we keep going. We're not. Scientists keep creating better medicines. They keep making us live longer. We live longer. So I understand we could end up really overrun. And I feel like it's, instead of them saying like China did when they said you can only have one baby, instead of them saying that this could have been part of some sort of plan, because we are going to get overrun if we just keep making babies.
Yeah,
we're making babies quicker than we die.
Yeah, and I think, I agree. I agree that there should be some sort of talk, but the thing is, we've not been involved.
I want to just say, I'm not saying that the coronavirus itself is a plan, because I've had it. I've been there, I've had it, and it was harsher than any flu I've ever had. So I know it was whatever it was. It was something. I've had it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that maybe this has happened, and the governments have piggybacked. Right, this is something we're gonna benefit from.
Yeah.
And we can.
I mean, I'll say. You can
happily say what you want.
Yeah, I'll say. You know, maybe. You know, I mean, is it impossible? You know, I mean, a virus was released to make a global emergency, so they could change global policies. You know, when you kind of cross in the I's and dotting the T's or whatever they call it. You know, there was a virus made in Wuhan. You know, I mean, there's been all these viruses. Obviously, I know the influenza virus, the flu virus, it mutates all the time as well. But, you know, every 4 years or something, we always get like a brand new virus. If it's swine flu, foot and mouth, if it's, you know, mad cow disease, you know, these things just pop up. It's not heard of that, you know, military exercises, biological warfare has been tested on populations, you know, to find out results. I seen something going viral just like the other day, and it was an old paper and old post about, you know, how the UK government let anthrax off into the tube to see how far it was spread between two tube stations, and didn't tell any of the people on the tube or anything like this. So, you know, once again, a secret operation. What? I know. You could type that in Google, put, you know, I mean, UK government anthrax on the tube train. The train tube and that lot, and you'll see, you know what I mean, that was out there. The publications, after so many years, these documents end up coming out. This is the fun thing about it. Like, governments will refute and will deny certain operations, and then like 20 years later, it's like Freedom Information Acts or something. You know, let's talk about another one. Look, because when you were talking about, let's go back. You said, when did you first get into, you know what I mean, into conspiracies or into sort of stuff? Conspiracy, I find a funny word anyway. But
I was about to say, let's not say conspiracy. Let's say that you think the government's
challenging the narrative.
They have a plan and they do what they want.
Yeah, like challenging the narrative. It's like these people
At the end of
are
the day,
in
it's
control.
like a business, which is why Trump did so well, because he was a businessman and he run the world like a business, and then that's why we can't have him in here. Like, because this doesn't look politically right.
Yeah.
So they have to have these politicians that look nice. Like, we all loved Boris for a bit, but it's all the idiots behind him.
Yeah.
That, of course, he ain't making any decisions.
No, none of them make decisions.
He is
like,
not making a decision.
I mean, they're all been given. You know, it's like the news. It's like you know, the person that reads the news hasn't done investigative journalism, not anymore anyway. They read it off a prompter.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same for this. It's the same
right now, right here. The Coffee Zone podcast is real.
It's all real,
it's
baby.
Real.
That's it. Off the dome, straight off the dome.
It's real.
But you know, and that's why you disconnect from it as well, because you feel the lack of authenticity on it a lot as well, and that's what confuses a lot of people, because they even look confused as well. You know what I mean, when they're talking about certain things. But I first got into it like when I was younger in my teens and that lot, and it's like question what it is. I did get into like that conspiracy thing at the beginning because my friend put me onto geoengineering. You know what I mean? I watched SIGG as well when I was young. SIGG isn't like the best documentary, but it's a good documentary. It talks about, they go into like socialism, they go into like, you know, religion, they go into like false flags, and but I remember like watching the first episode, and it talks about religion at the beginning, and it talks about, you know, the birth of Jesus, and how like on the constellations of astrology, like on the 24th of December for a certain like solar celeste, 24th of December, the bright star Sirius ends up aligning up with the Orion's belt, which in biblical terms is called the Three Kings. So on the 24th to the 25th, the bright star in the sky aligns up with Orion's belt, the Three Kings, pointing down to the east, the rise of the sun. And now Jesus was a pagan sun god. That's why he's a circle around the back of his head. Yeah, Jesus travelled around with 12 disciples, the same as the sun travels around with 12 zodiac circles. Yeah, zodiac signs. So, you know, people back in the day didn't know how to verbalise, well, they know how to verbalise, but certain different to us, and they watch, they star watchers. So they seen how basically seasons change. They see how, you know, full moons. They seen, because they used to, most of the time they used to look at the stars. You know what I mean? And you know, native Indians and that lot, they know they can, by the temperature, the humidity and that lot, they're so in tune with the ground and the earth. They know when the seasons come and how it's changing. So people used to worship the sun. You know, this, you can see this in certain different characteristics on different religions. But the sun brought light today, harvest a crop. So this is, of course, they worship the sun. You know what I mean? It fed them.
Yeah.
And then now they just elaborated, made all these stories around it. Do you know? And you move through different zodiacs, and they all have different representatives. Jesus was Pisces. You know, the fish, the man with the fish, and that's why in USA and that lot, what's Jesus represented by a fish? Do you know what I mean? The fish sign in that lot. And then I watched that and I was like, bro, that resonates. Do you know what I mean? And then it talks about the first Jesus. One of the first Jesuses was Horus. You know what I mean? He was an Egyptian god. He was the son of Enki or something, but his brother was called Set. And Horus was the god of the sun. So he'd rise in the morning, and in the afternoon he'd fight his brother Set, and Set would win, and Set brought the sunset, and the night would come, and then once again he'd fight him in the morning, he'd win, and then the sun would rise. But if you look through astrology, there's so many different meanings to you know, the biblical stories. So you're like, okay then, so you know, a lot of people believe in religion, but you know, you go, all right, and what's the other side of the story? Astrology. So you just start seeing two different sides of the story. And you're like, well, I mean, that goes for everything. So, and then my mate puts me onto geoengineering. So chemtrails and that lot, and when I was younger, people call me back like. So I'm used to going against the grain. People calling me crazy.
Yeah, man, I think you're crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, you alright? Sure?
Yeah.
Get him on the podcast. Get him on the podcast.
Get the nutter on there.
But remember where you're at. Put a pin. Remember where you're at so you can carry on. That's the problem, though. When people speak out, they get seen as crazy. They then get shut down. They then disappear because you're not with the grain.
Yeah. And
that's the problem. And you see that in movies. You see that people talk about it now. You see it in the past. People saying, well, I think this is right. And if I think this is the right thing. And if people don't agree with that, it just disappears slowly.
Yeah.
You see it. You see it in minimal stuff with this podcast. Yeah. If you put something in a thumbnail that maybe people don't agree with, you see your views drop. Yeah, you have to put stuff in there like, oh my God, I love the life, or I love the world, or I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like, you put things in there, oh, I want to see that. If you put something that could maybe go against the grain, 50% won't watch it because they are the other side, that's fine. But then 25 won't watch it or won't agree because they're like, well, I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah. And it's this, I was talking to a friend and he said, he spoke about this theory that makes a lot of sense. There was this theory called the tribal theory. And you can search this up as a tribal theory. And what they did is they did like a little test, and they got a group of people that never met each other before. And what they did, they put them in a room, and then what they did is show them a video of all the different hands of the people getting hammer hit in their hands, and I'd see the reaction on their minds. And the person would have no reaction apart from the white. Like, say they were all different origins as well. So say the white man would only have a reaction when the white hand got hit because of his resemblance to it, yeah, his occurrence to it, and then similar to the black man the same, the Indian man the same, But when they put them in groups, and then they still didn't know anything about each other. But they, you know what I mean, they were separated in groups, so they identified with each other, even not knowing anything about each other. But so then, as soon as they did the test again, every time that somebody in their group would get a bang on the hand, that same flutter in the mind of, you know, anxiety would pop off as well. So, you know, I mean, it's and it boils down to this, like, identification. Even if you don't know it, I mean, if we like to be in groups, like, and we like to, like, have a unit of connectability.
Not being alone.
Yeah, so it's like right now what you see as well. It's like because it's hard to explain, but you know the masks. I wear masks, you don't wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
Two different groups. If you don't wear a mask, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to give you a chance. I don't like you. So it's this group mentality of, like, you're on the opposite side to me. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the time of day. Do you know? And some people don't even know why they're doing it, but it's because they don't know they're lacking information, they're lacking personal actual opinion and views on it. They just know that they're in a group that don't like people that don't like masks, and that is literally one of the situations we have.
I nearly put a post out, mate, saying, obviously with all this stuff going on, I'm like, can we just go back to, like, vegans hating people who do keto? Can we just go back to that argument on Instagram, please? Because that'd be so much better. I thought that was going to be, like, enough. I'd rather go back to that.
Yeah.
Can intermittent fasting, can they hate the people who overeat? Can we just go back to arguing about that than arguing about But I understand what you mean, and you get that, like people get aggressive about stuff for no reason. Like, I get it if you're seeing it as dangerous. You rock into a shop, you've been told to wear a mask, you walk into a shop, you're putting everyone at risk.
Yeah.
I get that. But when you're, like, miles away or you're not around someone, like, why are you saying that? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What, like, people, please, what are you doing wearing a mask on the street on your own? Like, it drives me mad. It drives me lunar. Why are you wearing a mask? Like, literally, I see people on their own in the street. There's no one next to them, and they've got their mask on.
Bro, someone told me a story at work. I'm not going to take it as my own story. So he was leaving work, saw someone in the street wearing a mask, smoking.
You can't.
So he's outside on his own, 5 o'clock in the morning, pulling his mask down.
Oh my
Token
days!
on his
How
fag,
bad is that for you as well?
Putting it back up.
Oh no! How bad
Smoking
is
and
that
then
for
putting
you
his
as well?
mask back up. One, where's the coronavirus coming from?
Yeah.
Two, you're smoking anyway, mate. You're putting a life sentence on yourself as it is.
Exactly.
Like,
And
what you should do is you should stop smoking, and you might have more chance of surviving the coronavirus because your lungs will be better.
Exactly. Because, you know, the strong ain't dying. I'm just saying. I mean, it's really sad, and I mean, obviously the loss of any life is is not good. But most of the cases in the studies and that lot are showing that a lot of the people that are just, you know, seem to be healthy, but are lower than 60, and most of them are obese. Do you know what I mean? And most of them stuff like that. And like I say, it's not good to lose anyone, but it's important as well to, you know what I mean? We'd have to take accountability for our health. Do you know what I mean? Instead of, you know, right now, I don't see, like, there's been a few posts on that, but I don't see the government putting out great amounts of information on telling people, trying to, you know what I mean, encourage better ways of living. You know what I mean? Better food. Do you know what I mean?
But that's the big argument with the gyms, isn't it? Like, I get it. I get the gyms. There could be a lot of people there.
But the study shows that, you know what I mean, the study did show that even for the first lockdown, the least amount of spread was in gyms, because, you know what I mean.
I get that with the studies, but if you look at it as a person who's not a gym goer, not a scientist, not a nothing, you think about the amount of surfaces being touched, the amount of, do you know what I mean, the amount of heavy breathing,
sweat.
the amount of heavy breathing. Like, you touch something, how have you? There could be within an hour, 40 people have touched that dumbbell within an hour minimum. Like, and that's, to me, probably the way they've looked at it. And then the fact that you're breathing heavily, you're maybe projecting this further than what statistically it shows. I get it that statistically the data has showed that the spread was not as much, because you've got people who actually want to clean themselves and shower, and they want to look after themselves, and they want gyms. Whereas in a shopping centre, a lot of people don't care. They ain't cleaning their hands. They're touching everything. They're picking they're still, even in the middle of a pandemic, they're like, I don't want this banana, I'll put it back. Well, no, you've touched it, bro. You haven't it.
Yeah. And you know, like, that's what I mean as well. And, like, the thing is, we need to look at the statistics. So, like, you need to look at data and information, and you obviously need to analyse this is what I'm talking about. Like when, like what I like to do, when people say, oh, if you're not following the narrative, then you're like right now, if you're not following the narrative, you're a loner. You might have psychological problems. Like we might need to section you, like if you don't follow this narrative right at the minute. Like that's what they were saying when the protests were running on the news. And then I had people that were close to me saying, look, you're just, you're attaching yourself to this and you're trying to find answers. I'm not trying to find answers. There's answers out there for starters, and you're looking for something to give you purpose. That's what someone said to me once, and I was like, brother, you're so far gone there. And I know that you just repeated that off the news because I've seen that on the news, and you've just basically mimicked a sentence off the news. That that's okay. If that's your thought and that's your process, that's okay.
And that's what makes me confused about podcasts and stuff. That they've been going now for, say, let's say 10 years. They're not being like podcasts. You can sit and say what you want, and they probably are monetized down the line. Like if you just say something on here that maybe Spotify doesn't agree with on their little algorithms, it might be pushed to the back. But you can still be on there saying it.
Yeah.
YouTube, you can still be on there saying it, and I think that's great for the world. You're sitting here saying your views. You couldn't sit on the news and say your views like that. And I think that's great. But why hasn't it? I don't want it to be monetized, but I feel like they're missing something if they are trying to monetize the world. Why are they not monetizing this stuff?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it is, it's how broad the spectrum is. Like you can't literally see it. The AI is getting better, and AI is going to overtake. What we can fathom. Yeah, like
that's AI, bro.
Yeah,
it can remember my passwords better than I can.
Yeah, it remembers. Exactly what you say.
That jogged me. That jogged me. Someone said to me, Elon Musk on Joe Rogan's podcast said, AI is here already.
You are a cyborg already.
I was like, what do you mean?
And
he said, that thing in your hand. I said, yeah. He said, can remember your passwords better than you can. And I was like, well, actually, it can. And then I buy a new laptop. Well, that just says transfer them over. It remembers my passwords. It remembers my internet. Remembers where I went 10 months ago. I don't remember that. Like, it's already here. Like, big.
Your logs are down. Do you know what I mean? Your logs are down. Like, and bro, I was... As well, this is once again, I was watching Economical Forum talks yesterday, and the night before. Like I watch them all the time, different chats, and they were talking about AI, the innovation, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why as well, because when I talk to people, they're like, oh, they think like you get this information. Like if I'm talking about the future,
Facebook.
Yeah, they think there's just some geezer in his attic with like long hair and like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Just making it.
Yeah, a Batman outfit on is telling you all this information. No. I check references. I check, other news articles. I check, publications in medical journals. I look for the other side of the story. From highly credited professionals that work at big universities and stuff like this. And then you come to a conclusion. In all the time, there's going to be two stories, and normally one's getting paid. So you need to try and follow the money as well. And they were talking about on the World Economical Forum, and talking about AI and how fast it's going to become and how the algorithms are going to be, and they're basically talking about how, they've got to keep on top of it, not overpassing us, and how people are going to have to, once again, they was talking about middle class, because this is going to affect the middle class the most, and how people have to train, upskill. In the next 5-10 years, you're going to have a lot of automated driving cars, a lot.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Yeah,
he's already made them.
An abundance of them. Like you're going to have like so many different things. In a lot of jobs in factories and stuff like this are going to get automated as well. Like people don't know what's coming. Like a lot of jobs are coming, and you know what you're going to do. You're going to end up on universal credit. They're talking about it a lot. Yeah, on these talks, all these big heads, billionaires. Politicians, scientists. Yeah, innovators from Silicon Valley, are all talking about how our lives are going to be, yet we've had no input on it. We've had no vote. We've had no one ask us. Yeah, it's all just going to come bam. Yeah, and then we're going to have to roll with it. We're going to have to upskill. But if you're a bloke that's 50, you're driving trucks. Yeah, they've already practiced them last year. Self-driving lorries. Yeah. Now Barry, who's 50, is going to lose his job to a self-driving lorry. He can't retrain. He can't do nothing. So now he's going to go on a basic income wage from the global universal wage.
See Barry 50 in a bar.
Yeah, Barry's just going to be in the bar like living it up. Hopefully Barry goes to Canada or maybe the Caribbean or something. Gets himself, nice
chills,
little place. Yeah, gets his feet up. But that's like these are the things I like to watch, and people aren't paying attention to. Because if you want to follow thing is, this thing has affected our whole world.
Yeah.
Why are you not paying attention? Why do you not want to know about the future. Like, so when, like, why are you so afraid of these conversations? Do you know what I mean? If somebody's telling you a different story that the TV's telling you, because you're accepting the one that's coming off the TV. This is a majority of people. You're accepting the BBC story, but you don't want to hear a different story because that might hurt your reality.
And now what Reiss is saying is, I think let's take away a pandemic, take away anything that's gone on the last year, 2 years, take that away. This stuff goes on every day.
Yeah.
So why are you not looking into your future? That's what he means. Not like, because I think the problem with it is because it's attached to death. It's hard to stand and go, I think it's the government, because you're then standing against. Well, I'm happy with deaths. The government are killing everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people get worried to say, I'm scared about the future. Whereas you take away the deaths, take away the pandemic, take away the virus, take all that away. And then you still have governments that are creating things that are stealing your jobs, or like the AI, or forcing, let's say there's not even a pandemic or no deaths and they force us into these warehouse jobs. Would you kick off then? And probably you would, because there's nothing else attached to it.
And the thing is as well, this is what I mean. You know, these global emergencies happened in perfect time with, you know, their transitions. When I was talking about sustainable development, Agenda 21, they're changing the civilization for the 21st. You know what I mean, century. But they've got 2030. They've got rules, and they've got markers that they have to hit for population, for sustainable development in businesses and that. Like by 2030, and they talk about them. I mean, on these committee meetings, on these conferences and stuff like this.
That was like governments.
Yeah, there's like all these top wigs and that lot governments talking about. You know, I mean, how they're working towards the Agenda 2030. You know, I mean, this is a United Nations policy. You can go and check it out on the internet. It's not a conspiracy. You know, they're talking about taking back. You know, I mean, lands in you know, for national parks and stuff. They're protecting the planet from the people. You know, in sustainable living, you know what I mean, the most perfect civilization is in compact areas. And so, you know what I mean, they're moving everyone out of the countryside and that, like taking back the land. They want everyone in compact buildings in the cities. So why? Because you can monitor, you can control, and you can keep your eye on people in the cities, and it's like you can keep the influx in the energy of money, and you know what I mean, you can control what's going on. And then so they're going to want people to drive less cars. I mean, they're going to want people to, you know what I mean, have minimum space. You know, in the future, it's going to be very difficult to be owning a house. You know what I mean, and stuff like this. And then, but these all were planned years ago. They've been talking about it. This global emergence happened, and now they're saying that it's the perfect time to push it forward for the Great Reset and the Build Back Better plans. So but on the TV, they're acting